Welcome to the Solemn Vanguard channel. Today we had another stream and so we have to cover it. Of course, we had some major overdress news. However, let's first jump into the new Valeos reveal, which is kind of a weird one. We'll get to it. So Blue Wave Marshal Valeos, no Excel marker. That will make some people very sad. His skill is Act on V once per turn, CB1 and Soul Blast 1. Choose one of your opponent's Vanguards and until end of turn it gets power plus 5k. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, its power cannot increase or decrease other than by this effect and Guardian's Shield. So just like the old Valeos, it basically power locks, but it also decreases as well. So you know, that is very good, I guess. But then the other skills, I don't know. It's a weird one. Act on V once per turn cost. Discard a card with the same card name as your Vanguard from your hand. So this kind of like Ultimate Stride-ish, which is cool, flavorful. Remove all markers from your circles and call up to 5 cards from your drop zone to R. It's basically Megiddo skill, right? In the anime, if you weren't around in G, Valeos actually used Megiddo for the first time and people were mind blown, like, whoa, Azerov Dragon is so insane. He discards the Valeos and gets the Megiddo and revives everything. This card does the same thing. So flavor wise, it's really cool. We also saw Gusty already pretending to be Dust, so that's pretty funny. And then his third skill is Auto on V once per turn. At the end of the battle that your unit attacked, choose 2 of your rear guards and you may exchange their positions. Once again, driving home that Megiddo power. I don't know if this is better than Revon as a deck or better than Tavas as a deck. I don't know, I feel like the skill is good and all, but if you just ride it, you know, without the ultimate stride kind of mechanic, what are you really doing, right? You're just moving some stuff around. I feel like you were already doing good multi-attacks with an Excel circle and Revon stuff anyway, and you were drawing a lot on top of that. Whereas here, for this card to plus, you need to have the same name, and then you also need to have a filled drop zone already. So it's a bit of an odd one. I enjoy the art, I enjoy the card, but I don't know how impactful it will be. Of course, this has been the case with all of the clan selection reveals so far. There's not that many cards that are truly super great. They're all just fair. And you know, many people are saying we wish V was like this, where you know, you have these flavorful, pretty different skills that don't break the game straight up, but it is what it is. However, I do want to jump into overdress news because this had me far more hyped. So we have the different units. Look at this. Now, these don't have skills shown yet. You know, they're still hiding that. They're still trying to keep us hyped without telling us too much. However, look, all of these arts actually match each other. They're part of one big art piece, which is really exciting to me. But even though this is just art, we can actually learn a lot already. Look, our grade 2s have 5k shield, 10k power. Grade 3s, no shield, 13k power. Grade 1s have 5k shield. Heals have 15k shield, and trigger power is still plus 10k. Grade 0s have 5k shield, crits have 15k shield, and again, crits 10k power as well. So, what does this mean? Well, first of all, you will just straight up have less shield in an overdress deck than you did in a V deck, but your trigger power is the same, so I'm wondering how much harder it will be to guard stuff. You know, the bulk of your deck's shield, except for triggers, was always in your grade 1s, and now that's not the case. Now, I understand this move. Because of the ride deck, you no longer need to run a huge amount of grade 1s, so it's very possible that grade 1s will start having a very different kind of objective in overdress compared to back in the day. So you know, the change isn't odd to me. However, it is very interesting from a premium deck building perspective. If you have to choose between a V card, a G card, and an overdress card, the V card by default will be winning in the shield department. However, sometimes the skills, you know, are just better than that shield. For example, in a Dark Irregular premium deck, you run Old Dimension Creeper because the skill is that good. Same for a variety of other decks. And so for overdress, it will probably be similar, where your grade 1 needs to have a truly amazing skill to justify running it over a V card that already has a really good skill. Because, you know, V had a lot of power creep and so a lot of powerful cards. So not only do your overdress cards need to be very powerful, but they also need to be powerful enough to get over that 5k shield extra as well. So that's going to be interesting. I'm pretty sure that at the beginning, we won't be running too many grade 1 overdress cards purely because, like I said, not only do they need to be powerful, but they also need to be so powerful that it's worth sacrificing the shield. Now, beyond that, this does raise the question, how is it that the triggers can still be 10k, but the shield goes down. This would mean that triggers get more impactful in overdress than in V, unless we get some kind of defensive creep. Now again, we don't know anything yet, right? For all we know, the order cards are blitz orders that are super defensive and do something like that. Maybe grade 1s have some defensive insane skills. Again, so far we know nothing, but we can just start speculating. It's also interesting how heals went from 20k to 15k, which means maybe they were thinking triggering a heal is already very powerful. And if you drove check it, now you also have a bigger shield. Maybe that isn't as balanced from a trigger perspective. I surely feel that way, you know, triggering a heal that actually activates in V, you not only get to heal, you also have like the biggest shield the game has beyond Sentinel crits, of course. So I definitely like that rebalancing there. Of course, a lot of people were thinking, oh, we really want 5k triggers back because it will be less impactful, and I kind of agree. However, I do like them being 10k because this means if we eventually get triggers with skills, these will be way more useful in premium. You know, in premium we currently have this issue where you have to choose between a cool G card with a skill or a not so cool V card without a skill. And now then we got our premium collection crits, but that also means we're always forced into, oh, run 4-4 there because, you know, they're just better. Not only do they have the high shield, but they also have the skill. So if overdress triggers start getting skills after a while, and I hope they do, that will be exciting, because if these were still 5k, they would have to be bonkers insanely powerful to even make it into premium decks. So I'm happy for that. In that regard, I'm happy with the 10k power from a premium perspective. I'm less happy with the 10k power from an overdress perspective, but that doesn't necessarily matter because we don't have skills yet. For all we know, orders are super defensive stuff. For all we know, maybe grade 1s get the most defensive skills possible. You know, now that we have the right deck, it's very possible we will start running way more grade 2s, which means maybe the grade 1s are just these niche kind of cards, not necessarily just, oh, big shield and sometimes a booster. So we'll see what that brings, but I think it's very important to drive home that it's not very black and white as to if this is good or bad, as long as we don't have more skills being added. Now, let's go over the other arts. We got our Dark States. It's interesting how Dark States is now entirely blue. For a second I was like, what the hell did they do to Grand Blue? But no, it's just Dark States having the blue flag instead of the purple that we were used to. We already kind of knew that, but seeing it on the card was still a little culture shock. As you can see, again, all these arts connect. I'm sure a Spike Brothers player is excited as hell. Look at these cards just fitting together. I know some people were saying, oh, you won't have your clan aesthetics anymore. I mean, look at this. You're not telling me this is a dark, irregular clan aesthetic. Like, this is very Spikes Brothers-y. Personally, not a big Spikes fan. I do have the deck. I enjoy playing it from time to time, but it's not really my thing. However, you know, this looks really good. Then we also have our Keter Sanctuary right here. Once again, everything works nicely together. We have our Stoikea best deck, hashtag Team Megumi. Look at that. These are so cute. I actually enjoy this a lot. The arts are actually really good. I don't know how or why, but I feel like a lot of overdress art already has infinitely more details than V art. I don't know how they started doing that. Maybe I felt like a lot of V cards were very cartoony, especially like Nitros. Maybe I'm just biased because they ruined Nitros for me. This just looks very, very, very good. Then finally, we also have our Team Tomari right here. These cards also just look very good, you know. It's interesting. So we have our police peoples on the top, but then these other ones are not really as policey. You have more like a medic on the bottom left. Now, more new info. We have our festival selection or collection or whatever you want to call it. This is the set that drops after the first overdress booster set. And so what's interesting is that these are not moving away from the looks that we have from start decks yet. So the middle one, okay, Dragon Empire, a right one probably Keter Sanctuary, but the left one, Dark States, it's still a very spikesy looking unit. So I would like to start seeing, you know, other kinds of aesthetics, but we'll see how that goes. What's also interesting about this is that this will have the same ratios as a clan selection, where if you buy a box, you will automatically have one copy of each card. Also, everything will be triple R, and this will also be reprinting some of the start deck cards in SP. So that's interesting to me, because that would assume that these cards are actually good. So probably the start decks will actually come with some pretty major staples. Again, if you still need to pre-order your start decks, you can go to 50cart.shop and use the code Solemn. You get a discount. Link is in the description. I'm very excited to just get everything. They also still have Nation Bundle pre-orders if you want to pick that up. But yeah, I'm very excited. Like, the fact that they are reprinting start deck cards already not only means that it'll be harder for stuff to randomly inflate in price, but it also once again shows like these cards must be pretty good and stable for a while. I don't think they would just reprint them in SP instantly if they all were like the V's trial decks, you know, where you basically trash the entire thing except for Lieselot after a while. Finally, we also got the Dragon Empire OVERTRIGGER. So, as you know, we saw the previous OVERTRIGGER was a Cray Elemental that everyone can use, and it had a very basic effect where, you know, the OVERTRIGGER effect, you get to 100 million, fun, blah, blah, blah. But then the other skill was give 100 million to another unit. So this way you could have 2 rear guards being massive. However, we already knew nations would have their own OVERTRIGGER effects. And so the first one, Dragon Empire, this skill kind of makes me sad. So the big issue people were voicing when it came to OVERTRIGGERs was, you know, offensively, you can still PG it. Oh, offensively, it's not the biggest deal. When you're on grade 2 and you swing and it activates, it's not a big deal, you guys. Oh, you know, defensively is when it will matter. And that was true. You know, defensively, it would randomly, you would trigger it and you would end someone's turn and randomly win of it. That was the issue because it was extremely stacky defensively. Offensive was like, you know what, fine. However, this Dragon Empire one said, you know what? Screw that. Not only do you get your defensive 100 million so forth that we already discussed, but if you trigger it in a drive check, you restand your Vanguard. So defensive, you end someone's turn out of nowhere. Okay, yeah, that already was hyper stack, but now you trigger it in an actual drive check. You straight up get a free Overlord skill right then and there in any deck for no reason. So now we are no longer in, oh, it's gonna suck defensively sometimes. No. This card changes games offensively as well. And we can all try to dance around, oh, maybe it won't be that big of a deal. Yeah, it is a big deal. Because not only do you have your regular game plan, you already have your regular strong game plan that your deck should have. On top of that, you can randomly gain Overlord on top of that. This is Overlord to trigger for free at any given moment, rarely but randomly. And I don't think that's very like ideal from a competitive perspective. Again, I'm excited for the casual setting, you know, you're having some drinks, you're eating some food, you know. I recall the moments with WCC in Japan, 4 a.m. in the hotel lobby, eating junk, playing Vanguard. Those were some of the best times ever. That was fun. Triggering an OVERTRIGGER at that point is amazing. Everyone's having a blast. You know, you trigger it, everyone's fucking dying for no reason. Hilarious. Everyone's laughing at the guy randomly losing. It's a great time, right? And I get that, and I enjoy that, and I will love that. But if you are playing for a ticket to Japan, or you are 1 round away from finally top 8ing and potentially qualifying for Worlds, and you're sitting in front of one and you're winning the game. You've played better than your opponent and you know, oh man, you know, this is I've worked so hard for this. Months I've been practicing, I've been buying my cards, put so much work into this, and it's all coming together because I'm really playing better than my opponent. And your opponent goes, attack with my Vanguard? Oh, Dragon Empire OVERTRIGGER, restand Vanguard. Guess I win. And then you watch all of that crumble. As a competitive player, that sucks. That is the worst. That is so ridiculously shit from a feeling perspective. And again, casual in the hotel lobby eating junk food, everyone's having a great time. I will love this. But competitively, I will hate this. You know, when I'm the one triggering it, sure, I love it. But that's biased as hell, right? So I don't know, you know, I was already not a fan of OVERTRIGGERs because of their defense random wins they will create. But now I'm also not a fan from the offense they will create. And now I'm not saying this will be so imbalanced that only Dragon Empire will win from this. Like, I am sure the other nations will also get ridiculous semi-auto win or massive game swing offensive overtriggers. Like, they're coming. I already assume that. I don't know what they'll do. Maybe the Dark States one will say your opponent can't use sentinels for the rest of the turn, something like that. I don't know, but it's coming. Don't just get mad at Dragon Empire right now. I am very, very certain that the other nations will get ones that are just as ridiculous, if not more. It's gonna be fun in the hotel lobby, not so much when you get kicked out of a qualification or a prize or a top or whatever you worked hard for. I'm still excited as hell for OVERDress. Everything looks really great, just my opinion hasn't changed on overtriggers. Hope you found it interesting. Like, subscribe, and I will see you soon. Ciao.